tonight we've got a great show for you. One light product photography setup. There's a shot. Now, believe it or not, that picture has been accomplished with one light. We're going to walk you through step by step. Right, so what are the difficulties that we're going to be faced with? Well, firstly, and most importantly, the one light thing is going to be a problem. We have lots of shiny surfaces that are going to require careful control on the lighting. We've obviously got these bright white surfaces to deal with, and we have a background here to deal with as well. We're going to shine that softbox through a gradation, or create a gradation by shining it through some Lee 216 diffusion material. We're going to bring it in quite close in the middle just to start with. So the scrim's much, much higher than the product, but this is a chrome shiny product. So it works like a lens or like a mirror, and it sees everything around it in the studio. So it's reflecting an image into it all the way around. And let's take a shot, shoot, and let's take a look. So first picture, you can see immediately we've got quite a harsh, bright light. You can see the gradient really nicely, but it's a little bit aggressive. So what I want to do is soften that down a little bit. Now let's see how much it softens down if Ashley pulls that just a few inches further away. So she's just going to pull that a little bit. There we go. We'll take the shot again, and then we look at the result in the metalwork there. There we go. So you can see quite a big change. So there's the shot we're on now. Let me just let that load in. And if I jump back one shot, you can see how much harsher it is there. Let's move on. The next problem we've got to face is what are we going to do with all the dark side of this product? So we are now going to start introducing mirrors, because mirrors are very effective at bouncing light in. And we can actually, with this big acrylic mirror, we can bounce light in that also becomes a gradient because it's a reflection of that gradient. Yeah, okay, so we're going to take a shot now, and let's take a look at the result. And boom, there we go. You can see that lovely bit of fill light coming in just from that single acrylic mirror. We were there before, and now we're there just by adding one mirror. Now we are going to add more than one mirror because we need a lot more light and wrap a lot more light in there. But clearly, it's not enough. Now the next thing is, well, the biggest problem is we've got this massive big black stripe right down the center of the product here. Now see how much difference this makes to the shot. So if I bring this in now, and even if I just hold this in position and I shoot, have a look at the shot on screen now. See that amount of fill light that's gone in there? Huge amount of fill light. Okay, so you look at that area there, that stripe. That was the gap that was here when I was holding it by hand. But we've closed that gap up now because I've turned the card round at a better angle. Now if we shoot this again, that gap will be largely minimized. There you go. It's a very small, thin line now because it's only a very small, thin gap from the subject's perspective. I can see the subject through that gap very, very slightly. So we can control that gap by just moving the scrim a little bit if we need to. Now, I've got this little mirror here. This is a makeup mirror, okay? Now, because I can't use a pico light today, now you know I like to use pico lights to make small little patches of light, tiny little spotlights. Now, I can't use that today because I've got a one light setup to work with. So your next best thing you can use is to bounce some light off of a makeup mirror, because a makeup mirror works, it's a lens basically, and it focuses light like a parabolic reflector, and it can focus it more to a point, to a patch. Now if you've seen some of our food photography tutorials, you would have seen me use these on the duck one where I highlighted little patches on the food using this. So we're going to use this to bring a little patch of light into this area here. There, I think it's definitely working there. Let's see what we get on that one, and then we'll take another question. So I'm just going to zoom out on the shot just so you can see the area of the shot. Let's take a test shot. Let's see what that little mirror does. There, perfect. Look at that. That's great. Now that reflector, let's just jump back from where we were. There's nothing And now there's that little reflector. You see how it's putting that lovely little pool of light on that corner of that block? Just a little. Well, I hope you're enjoying this video. We've got some more great lighting tips and techniques coming up in this YouTube video. But if you'd like to get access to hundreds and hundreds of advanced lighting techniques, then why don't you check out visualeducation.com. It's the world's leading visual arts education platform. The video you're watching right now is just highlights from one of our many live shows. And during our live shows, our students can ask questions and interact so that they can further enhance their knowledge of lighting. Join us at visualeducation.com. Yeah, go for it, Georgie.
From APAQ,
That's
Carl,
pretty good, yeah.
would you do a shoot for a client like this? Or are you just demonstrating how it can be done with one light?
I would never do a shoot for a client like this. Not in 1,000 years, no. Think I'm going to have L'Oreal or someone walk in here and me do it with a speed light? No chance. No, the reason we're doing it with one light is because we often get questions from our audience that say, oh, you know, you've got lots of fancy equipment, lots of special Pico lights, lots of Fresnels and et cetera, you know, I don't have access necessarily to all that kit, so can we see some simplified shoots? So we thought, yeah, well, let's rise up to the challenge. Let's create a simplified shoot, because when you understand lighting, you harness the knowledge of lighting, and you'll see as we progress with this shot what I mean. But the fact remains is you can still do amazing stuff with one light. I can take amazing portraits with one light. I can hopefully deliver you a really good product shot with one light. And I would say that for many commercial photographers, even when I started out, 4 lights can do a hell of a lot of stuff, you know. I very rarely use more than 4 or 5 lights, to be honest. There's the occasion. I think the maximum I've used in one shot is 12 lights. Generally speaking, we're usually around 3 to 5 lights for a lot of stuff. But even so, people wanted to know, what can we do with one light? So that's what we're showing you. Now, one of the other problems we've got in this shot is that this white block here on this side, this one here, is the closest thing to the light source. And because it's the closest thing to the light source, it's the brightest thing, and it's also white as well, which is making it more bright. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and flag it. And flagging basically means putting an object, like a dark object, between your light and between your subject that then casts a shadow to darken it a little bit. It blocks some of the light. We're going to slide one of these black cards up to create a shadow between this light and the edge of the white block. Let's keep our eye on that white block. So there you go. So you can see the sides of the white block have got darker, and the lipstick was unaffected because we didn't block the light to the lipstick. We only blocked the light to the white block. But now I've seen that, I think it's too dark. And I'm going to see if there's a difference there. Oh yeah, there is. That's actually perfect. Now that's the right difference, because look, there's what we had with it too flagged. Look how dark and muddy it looks. Now we've got it flagged just a little bit less. Right, we're all good. I'm happy with that. That's one light so far. The blocks look nice. The lipsticks look nice. And we're doing all of this with one single 30 by 120 softbox. But we have a problem. We have a horrible background. And part of the reason the background's horrible at the moment is because you can see there's half a patch of light across the background on the right-hand side, and there's a darker patch on the other side. And the reason for that is because our background is just this white wall at the moment. So this could be any white wall, okay? Could be the back of your white wall garage, could be a roll of white paper, doesn't matter. Now what's happening is some of the light from the softbox is getting past the scrim and it's hitting the white wall. So you stand here, Tim, a second, and you look at that, and that's basically what's happening, is the softbox you can see there directly, this bit here is hitting the wall directly. And that's creating the brighter patch on the background that you're seeing on the right-hand side of my photo. Now again, to control those sort of problems, we just have to flag it. So we're going to pull this in until that disappears, and it's disappeared there. Now, I know what Ashley's thinking. She's thinking that's going to make my job a lot more difficult in a second, but we'll worry about that in a minute. Now we're going to take the shot again, and we're going to have a look at the light on the wall now. Solved it. okay? Now, look how much better that looks. Now, the problem with it is we have a really lovely dark grey background, but it's too dark. So Ashley's going to come into here now with this, okay? I'm going to check through camera whether or not this is visible or whether it needs to go up higher. It needs to go higher, Ash, much higher. Up you go, stop there, go to your right a bit. Okay, hold it there. Right, now let's look at the comparison. The shot we got already and the new shot, let's look at the exposure change. Boom, there you go. Now that exposure change wasn't us changing the lighting, that was us moving the background closer to the product. Now we're going to do something a little bit more clever. We're going to gradate the lighting. And shoot. Now this should change to a slightly more gradated light, and it does. You can see it's coming in slightly brighter from the right hand side, but if we changed the angle the other way, like so, and raise it up there, we should gradate a little bit more from the opposite side. We'll have to see how it works there. Yes, it does. Now look at that. Now that gives the impression that we have a light coming in from the top left hand corner. Okay, but we haven't got a light coming in from the top left-hand corner. What we've got is a piece of white board in the background that we've moved at different distances and different angles, and let's look at all the different results we got from gradation from top left, gradation from right, plain solid grey, slightly darker grey, even darker grey. And what did we do? We didn't light it, we didn't do anything, we just moved a piece of white board. Now we're going to do even better than this, okay? What I want to do is create a radial glow behind the product, behind it, okay? How can we do that, right? Now this is difficult because we've only got one light. If I was doing it with as many lights as I want, I'd put another light on the wall to create a radial glow. We don't have another light, but what we do have is the ability to change our light during the exposure. Here's what's going to happen. We're going to darken the studio. Ashley's already turned the modeling light off. I'm going to change my exposure time from 250th of a second to 45 seconds. We're going to have work in the dark. We're going to fire this first flash. Then Ashley's going to take this light off of here, take the softbox off, run round the back, put a different type of reflector on and fire it at the wall for me. And I'm going to keep my lens covered with a piece of black card, and then when I'm ready, she's going to fire the flash for the second time. So this will be the first flash, then she'll fire a second flash, and it'll all be within the same 45-second exposure, and it'll all be with the same one light. We're turning one light into two lights. Well, actually, we've already turned one light into about 3 or 4 lights with all these mirrors, but we're going to turn it into another light with a completely different modifier on it for what we want to do here. Are you ready? Okay, that's the first exposure. I'm covering the lens with a black card now, and I'm looking at my watch to check the timing, and I'm going to scare Ashley and tell her she's only got 8 seconds left, but I'm only lying because she's got well over 30 seconds left. She's changing over the light now. She is also going to have to run back, change the power of the light down to 6.5, and she's just dumped the power. Now she's going to fire it again for me without my thing in front of the lens. I took my card away from the lens. I've put my card back to stop any ambient light getting there, and I'm just waiting for the exposure to finish. And we were well ahead of schedule there by the sounds of things. There, the exposure's finished. Let's take a look now. There, bang, look at that. Now that was done with one light, and that was by using the same light in 2 different positions during a long exposure. All boom, 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 done with one light. Visual education, best photography education platform on the planet. Tell your friends, because you won't see that sort of stuff anywhere else.